Hello and welcome. Thank you for giving up your precious time to join me with this Ready for A-Level Results Day webinar. We've got some really useful advice, and this is for you if you're worried about your grades on results day, worried they might be too low, or on the plus side, maybe they're going to be really, really high, and you think you can make a better choice of university. Or maybe you're having second thoughts about your course choice or your university choice. Maybe you're getting cold feet and thinking, is this really what I want to do with the rest of my life? Or perhaps you're worried that you're going to end up in clearing and this is a whole new experience and you're not sure what you're going to do about it. Or lastly, maybe you're just the kind of person who likes to be prepared. You want to get in there, know exactly what you're doing, and be able to deal with whatever comes your way on that day. So during this session, we are going to give you two tools to help you think about your future and whether your potential career and course choice is really something that fits with you as a person. We're going to give you some questions to ask of the course you're interested in and the university. And we're going to tell you what to expect on results day and the clearing process itself. And lastly, we're going to give you some top tips on how to prepare for going through clearing and making those all-important clearing phone calls. So let's see what's in this webinar. So first, you're probably thinking, well, who is this strange person sitting on my computer screen? Well, my name's Alex Patel. As you can see from this slide, I am overly qualified in all things connected to higher education. And I've set up this business with my colleague, Tracy Dix. We're both incredibly passionate about learning development in particular. This is basically thinking about the university as a bit like a culture. So each department has its own culture, its own way of thinking about things and doing things, its own kind of books of knowledge. This stuff we believe is the truth of our subject. Its own kind of leaders, pioneers, people that it really respects. Its own language and terminology even. And the scary thing is, when you're a student coming to university, you're expected to instantly absorb all this stuff and know exactly how to communicate, how to write essays using the right kind of language or construct reports in exactly the right format. And it's really difficult. And the sad thing is, a lot of teaching staff don't have the time or potentially the skills to kind of teach you this stuff, because it's a bit of a different way of looking at a lot of disciplines. It draws on kind of sociology and thinking about how people interact. However, there are people such as myself and my colleague Tracy who specialise in, the simple way of putting it is sharing study skills, but actually it's a lot more complicated than that. It's really understanding how departments and subject areas work and what the expectations are of you as a student. How will you perform well? How will you know what to do, what good looks like within this subject area? And we specialise in helping you work out what that is. So listen on. So, as I said, we are a business. We hope to turn this into a full-time income stream so we can do this all day, every day. Well, we may take weekends off. But I'll start off with what we won't do. I'm not going to hold anything back. All the stuff in this webinar is the best I can pull together and give you. I'm not going to come to you at the end and say, oh, but if you want this last secret tip, you have to, send me a £5. No, you're getting everything that we think will help you. And also, I'm not going to spend the whole time talking about our paid courses. I am very excited about them, and at the very end of the webinar, I will cover what we offer, and I'll give you an opportunity to, I guess, join our mailing list, and we'll send you more information if you are interested in any of these. But what we will do, we will help you if you go through this webinar and the associated workbook. We will help you be confident that you know where you want your degree to take you. To be confident that you've made the right course choice, or if you decide that actually it's not for you, you'll feel empowered to change and find a course that is more appropriate. After all, you are spending a lot of money and investing a lot of time, so you want it to be for the right reasons. So it's something that's going to really help you and your future. You'll understand how results day works and how clearing works. And lastly, you'll prepare for entering clearing and making those clearing phone calls. So we're talking about a bit of research and a bit of role play. The best way to learn is by doing. So the first and really, really important question is, well, what does a degree mean? Actually, no, it isn't. It's what does a degree mean for you? What is it going to help you achieve? Is it going to help you get what you want out of life? Or is it something you're just falling into? Is it just because everybody else is doing it? And if that's the case, then you probably don't want to spend £50,000 of debt doing something that you're not sure you actually want to do. The best students, or well, not the best students, the people who do the best at university in their courses are people who are excited by their course, who are motivated, who, you know, at the end of a couple of lectures, they go to the library and think, wow, I want to find out more about this. This is great, this subject area. Whereas somebody who's not interested, you know, it's no slight on them at all. But if you're not interested in something, it's very hard to put the time in to succeed. That's just the way it is. So what is this course going to do for you? What is it you want out of life? What makes you happy? What makes you smile? Right. So some people say, well, this degree is going to help me get the job I want. Okay, so let's explore that a little bit more. I'm going to have to lean out the way so you can read this. Okay, so we've got two quotes here. Which of these do you think aligns with your own beliefs the most? Is it that a job is a job? It's a way to pay for a living, but that's it. Don't let it define your happiness. You work to live, you don't live to work. So spend your time on what makes you happy. That's one way of looking at it. And then the other one, leaning out the way, is Confuci, or Confucius, as we know much better. Choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. So that's the idea of following your passions. But actually, sometimes we just end up getting exploited if we follow that route. You know, you start to see this expectation of people have to pretend they're passionate about their job just to do well, to get promoted and things like that. Whereas actually a job is a job. You know, if it's your own business, you make money for yourself. But if you're working in someone else's business, all your energy and passion is making money for them. Within the workbook, we have these two activities, and it's all around considering where you want to be in the future. What do you want out of life? So the first one uses neuro-linguistic programming, and it's a bit of a kooky visualization. But actually, as somebody who studied psychology and neuroscience, there is a basis for this stuff, you know, and there's a lot more qualified people who can talk about it to you. However, my take on it is that your subconscious is very powerful. And if you can put suggestions in your subconscious to look for things, it will do so without any conscious effort on your part. And that's what it is. So you can visualize, you know, this is where I want to be in the future. I'm now looking back at the journey to this point. And in that journey, I can see, oh, I had to study this. I had to get work experience in this. I then had to network with, you know, these types of people. And that puts it in your subconscious, because what you do is you visualize it. And when you touch, smell, hear, taste, and use all your different senses to imagine a situation like that. It becomes, in essence, a memory. Your subconscious can't tell the difference between what really happened or what is real and what was a visualization. So you do that, you get these goals, these ideas into your subconscious, and then it starts filtering through all the information and junk that floats around us every day and pulls out the bits which are relevant. So, oh, look, there's a network event there. Maybe I should go to that. Oh, look, that course is really interesting. I think I'll read about that. And it just offers these kinds of suggestions. And so it can help you get from where you are now to where you want to be in the future. So the second one we're going to look at during this session, and that's drawing on Stephen Kotler's curiosity game. What you can see here is a circle, and in the associated workbook, you have a blank circle. The idea is, think about 15 things that you are curious about or passionate about or interested in. Go with curiosity. Jot those down around the outside. So I put myself back at a time when I was thinking about, what course to pick at university. So at the time, very into art, drawing, painting. I was interested in understanding myself better and understanding others, so emotions and that side of things. I wanted to help people. I was interested in biology, chemistry, and diving out the way, forms of emotional expression, so kind of music and those types of things. I wanted to find people that I could relate to, that I felt I had a connection with, that I belonged with. I was also really into supernatural stories, myths and legends, all sorts of things like that. Loch Ness Monster, UFOs. Working with animals, love animals. Learning about different cultures. Physics, I'm not sure. It was very much a love-hate relationship with physics that I had. And lastly, research and discovery. So the next step was to connect these and to see which of them had like a common theme. So the first one is that we have links between drawing and painting, forms of emotional expression, understanding myself and others, and all of this kind of links together in terms of emotions and dealing with them and understanding them. The next group that I put together was understanding myself and others, learning about different cultures, helping people, finding people I connect with. And so I've kind of given that the summary name of meeting interesting people. And then the last one, okay, we've got research and discovery, bit of biology, chemistry, research in that sense. Supernatural stories? What on earth is the similarity? Well, it's that exploring the unknown, investigating things, solving puzzles. So those are the three that I've pulled together. And then because I'm not applying for a university course at the moment, what I thought I would do is compare it to my role or my potential role in our little business, Word Learning. And yes, it does help me achieve these things. I meet lots of interesting new people. For me, learning and teaching are a bit like investigating new mysteries, because it's all about coming up with new ideas to solve problems. And in terms of the emotional side of things, well, we're taking a holistic approach to supporting students. So, it's got an element of mentorship, coaching, dealing with stress and anxiety, not just study skills or essay writing. And actually, if all goes to plan, fingers crossed, it will give me the time and the income to pursue other things which have these kinds of links outside of work. So again, fingers crossed. I'm assuming that you've paused this video and gone away, listened to the visualization, and also had a go at the circle of curiosity. So now you have an idea of what really inspires you and motivates you and interests you. So you can use that to think about whether your course allows you to explore these areas or gets you a career which works in these areas, or whether your career is actually high power, well paid, influential and stable enough to make you the money and put you in the position to explore these interests and passions elsewhere as a hobby. So maybe you're working 2 days a week and the rest of the time you're paragliding. We put together some important key questions that you should be asking about the course that you've chosen. Or if you're looking for your alternative selection of courses for clearing, in case you think you might be going into clearing. It's always useful spending, maybe only half an hour identifying some other options that are currently available via the UCAS course search. So the first point is that, well, where can I get this information from? All the stuff about your course will be on the UCAS subject guides and the university's website. So you'll get the structure, the teaching methods, those types of things. However, universities are trying to sell it to you. So they may sprinkle a bit of sparkle on there, a bit of glitter, gloss it up. So it's also useful to have a bit more of a realistic critical perspective. So if you look for student views on websites such as What Uni, Student Crowd, or the Student Room, those are really, really useful. One thing to be aware of, though, because I had a look at some of these, is that quite often first year students, 3 months in, seem to be complaining about courses. And I suspect some of that might be the challenge in adjusting to studying and living at university. Quite often people get a bit homesick in the first, well, it's usually around November time. But third year students who've been through the course, got settled in, and are perhaps seeing a bit more of the big picture, may be able to give more useful advice. And the last thing is, you need to think about what happens to graduates, so students who've come through the course and left. Where have they gone? Have they ended up as powerful researchers in that particular discipline? Surprisingly, probably not. Only a small number of students tend to stay studying or researching or working within that discipline. A lot move sideways into other areas. Could be all sorts of things. But one way to find this out is to look at the Discover Uni website, and that tells you where people have gone and gives you an idea of their views. So it will tell you basically what you can do with the course that you're interested in. So the types of questions you can ask, of course: why are you interested in this course? Which topics within the course excite you? Do you like how the course is going to be taught? Is it going to be lots of teamwork, lots of lab work, problem-based learning, maybe a bit of virtual reality nowadays? Or is it going to be 2 lectures a week with a cohort of 200, and then the rest of the time spent in independent study at the library? Maybe you like that, maybe you don't. But if that's how you're going to be spending the next 3 years, and your motivation affects how well you do, then it's definitely worth looking into right now. Diving out the way again, what careers could this course lead to? How influential, well-paid and stable are those jobs? What are the working conditions like in those jobs? So currently, I get the impression that whilst becoming a doctor is quite prestigious, junior doctors actually have pretty bad working conditions. I'm not sure I would fancy it. And lastly, does the course or career link with your curiosities or values? Is it something you think you're going to enjoy? So of course, a lot of universities will be offering that same course with different entry requirements and all sorts. But you do also need to think about the university. So the types of questions you might ask here are, is the university renowned for the subject you're interested in? Does it have status? What are the facilities like? We're talking about the library, the accommodation, the labs. So some places now have quite high power esports for computing, all sorts of things. How does this university and course rank? Together, are they, well thought of in the UK? Diving out the way, is the campus a place or a type of place that you'd like to be in? Is it in a city? Is it in the middle of nowhere? Is it a big city, big campus, big city, or is it, quite small? How large are the classes and the lectures? So for me, this is a really important question, as I think that the interaction between a lecturer or a tutor and a group of students is an essential part of the learning process. I would hate to be paying thousands and thousands of pounds a year and studying in a class of 600 students where the lecturer doesn't know who I am, doesn't, speak to me outside of lectures or even in lectures if we're talking about those numbers. What do students say about their experiences? What extracurricular activities are available? This is a wonderful time for you to be adopting new hobbies, really exploring different sides of your personality and what you enjoy doing. So is there anything that you particularly want to do? Does a wide variety of sports draw you to a certain university? And actually, one of the other quite important ones are, what are the opportunities for work experience? Because now when students graduate, employers are usually looking for evidence of work experience, and often something quite significant. And if you have that work experience or experience in industry, then that can really put you ahead in trying to find the type of job that you want. So the preparation is virtually done. We're now starting to think about the big day, results day. So what types of options do you have on that day? Well, we're talking about if you have the right grades, you can accept your offer. If you have grades that are higher, you could actually reject your offer and then go shopping for an upgraded degree, potentially. So you'd have to reject your offer and enter clearing to do that. You can enter clearing if you didn't meet your offer, or for some people, they didn't have an offer in the first place. So that might be because they're late to the application process, or none of their choices made them a formal offer. It happens. But at the end of the day, the most important opinion of you is your own. So I quite like this quote. It's all about self-esteem, understand your worth. And if you don't think, you're achieving much or you're very worthwhile, then you have the power to change that. Decide the person you want to be and be that person. But in short, no one else's opinion matters. Yours is the most important opinion. So what would we expect on results day? Well, an early start. So typically the results are released at 8 a.m, although collection arrangements may differ for different colleges. Turns out universities actually get your results the day before. So they've already made a decision. If your grades were just slightly under the ones that they offered you a place with, they've already made that decision as to whether to accept you or not. So when you log onto the system, once that information has been updated, and sometimes it takes 24 hours to do so, you'll see whether you've been accepted onto your firm choice or your insurance choice. But at 8 a.m. or thereabouts, that's when you get your results. So you might find out your place has been confirmed and you can accept that offer, and that's either your firm offer or your insurance choice, job done. Or you might choose to reject that offer and go into clearing and see what else you can find. You might choose to defer. So if you do, that means contacting the university and saying, I'd like to defer for these reasons, and then perhaps working for a year, traveling, or ideally doing something worthwhile and not sitting at home playing, it's not Fortnite now, but, you know, Call of Duty. It could be that you've automatically gone into clearing because you didn't get the grades required for any of your offers, or that you didn't have offers in the first place. Or the other option is, if your grades were not as expected and you and your teachers feel that something's gone wrong, you can appeal those grades. And in that situation, you would need to ask the university to hold your place or to consider entering clearing later on when you know what your grades actually are. So clearing is open until the 17th of October. So it lasts for a month after the A-level results are released. What is the clearing process is the next question. Well, first, you use the UCAS search tool to find out what courses are available. Now, you can do that already. I believe this tool was live from around the start of June or the start of July. So you can get on there and see which courses are available at the moment. Obviously, this is still before you've got your results, but it gives you an idea of the options out there. Once you have your results, you can call the universities that you're interested in. And this is when those questions and that prior research come in handy, because you've got everything. On that stressful day, you can just go straight in there and have those conversations, hopefully with as little stress as needed. So you keep going until you get one or more informal offers. In order to choose one of these offers, you have to be given permission from the university. Choose one of these offers, you have to be given permission from the university. So, you know, you would perhaps ring them back and say, yes, I want to take this course up. Will you give me permission to add it to my clearing choice? And that's where you go back into the UCAS program, UCAS track, and select the course. You can only do that for one course, so that's why it's important to have had an agreement from the university that they will accept you onto the course. And you have to have decided definitively, you know, that is your chosen course, because once they acknowledge that or confirm that on UCAS track, that is your course, job done. So then, of course, you, going to point at this, celebrate. And then maybe before this, you start to think, okay, now where am I going to stay? Some universities will give you help in finding accommodation. So ask that while you're going through the clearing process. You then need to inform student finance of any changes. And then over the next few weeks, start preparing for university. You know, check out the websites, see what the student union has to offer. Think about how you're going to be taught. Think about reading a little bit into the subject area, perhaps, you know, in a fun way, you know, really capitalize on that excitement that you're hopefully feeling at this point. So we've been talking about clearing day and results day. How do you prepare for it? Well, as we've said, you do the research, you find out 2 or 3 or more other universities and courses that you're interested in, and you get their module codes and that side of the information. The table in the workbook that accompanies this webinar will help you, and it'll give you a space to write these things down. The next step is to actually practice the phone call. End of the day, you learn best by doing, you prepare best by doing. I can tell you how to have a phone call, not great, but you doing it once, twice is the best thing you can do. And lastly, you can practice staying calm. So I've got a technique that I use on a frequent basis, actually, if I find I'm starting to get a bit angry maybe, or a bit stressed out. I use a certain breathing technique, and it is very effective and very easy. So top tips for making a clearing call. Well, firstly, we want to convince that university that you're really, really interested. You know, they are the best university you have heard of. You've always wanted to go there because of blah, 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 or, you know, certain teaching techniques, or the reputation of such and such, or, you know, them being well known for a certain subject area. And, you know, you should be using these things to make your choice anyway. You make a choice about a university and it's got to be based on something. There has to be a reason you have picked this university out of all the others. So do tell them that, show you're enthusiastic. Next step is to present yourself as a committed student. As I said earlier, students who are motivated and enthusiastic and interested in their subject area do better. The universities want you to succeed. They don't want you to struggle. They don't want you to have a horrible time. So they're going to be looking for students who are showing interest in the course, the university, and are indicating that they're motivated and hardworking. This may be an opportunity to explain your situation. So if you had lower than expected grades, you may be able to mention the extenuating circumstances. Now, it's not an excuse. It's simply to kind of say, you know, I have learned so much about myself as a student. In the future, I'll be able to work in this way, and this way, and this way. And I feel that this has really prepared me for the challenges of studying at university and studying independently. And at that point, they're thinking, ka-ching, we like you. Highlight your interest in the course. So again, this ties in with the committed students part. If you're really interested in the course, you're going to do better. You're going to do well. Lastly, be ready to ask questions. So we might have some of those questions from before that you want to touch on, get a bit more info about. One good question, of course, is how would they help you locate accommodation? So this is a fun role play activity. Normally people run a mile when I say role play, but you know, if you let your guard down a bit and lean into it and try and enjoy it, it can be lots of fun. So for this activity, what you would need to do is find a willing partner who has a telephone. You know, if we're going to practice this activity, we need to do it as authentically as possible. So that means using your telephone, or maybe even working out how you can hook yourself up to a hands-free kit or a microphone, goodness knows. One of you obviously plays the university staff member and the other person plays the student in clearing. So you need to work out some questions you would ask. So we've got some examples here. Why are you interested in this course? Why have you chosen our university? Can you tell us about your A-level results? Where do you want to be? What are your career aspirations? And as the student in clearing, you would think about how you would respond to these types of questions. And again, going back to that mind map type chart on the previous page, those are the types of things you want to get into the conversation and make it as specific as possible, which is again where your research comes in, because you can say, oh, I like this course because it's got these lab activities, there's this field trip, there's this style of problem-based learning that I've heard about and I'd really like to try. The other research you need is to have your clearing number and UCAS ID and the code for a certain course. So you can make these up at this point, but obviously on the day you need to have the right stuff. So then quite simply, you ring the clearing line and have this conversation and ask your partner to provide some feedback. What worked well and what could be improved? Was there anything that made that person think, wow, that's an impressive answer? That's the kind of person I would sign on to my course if indeed I did run a course. And then, of course, you can switch roles if your willing victim is a student in a similar position to you. And then just, you know, think about how it went. Is there anything you'll do differently? Do you want to have another practice? Were you a complete nervous wreck and feel you'd benefit from working on this a bit more? Or did you take it all in your stride? And if you were, a bundle of nerves and a general mess, we do have this little activity about breathing. So this is a breathing technique that will get you from feeling panicky and stressed into a better place where you're more relaxed and in control. And it's very simple. So breathe in for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for a count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out for a count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And repeat. And as you do this, you gradually become calmer. So again, breathe in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when I do it, I tend to do it anywhere between 5 to 10 times. And then you can just pause. And that will have got oxygen into your body, and it will also have stimulated your vagal nerve. I'm a neuroscientist, I should know this, but I've forgotten. And that helps to just calm you down. Anyway, in the workbook, there is a link to the original recording by a gentleman who knows an awful lot more about it than me. So I'd suggest you have a listen to that. But very simple, very powerful way of calming down. And you can even do it without saying the numbers out loud. So you can do it without anyone knowing. The thing I want to wish you most of all at this point is your success. Be happy. Choose what works for you. And pick yourself up if you're feeling down. Failure is probably the best thing for teaching somebody how to do better next time. I think this is the point where I tell you a little bit about the support and the courses we offer to students at university. Now, we are looking to make money from these, obviously, but at the moment we're still playing around with prices. So I think we're going to be offering these as a pay what you think they're worth, what you want type of offer. So if that's the case, sign up now, have a go. During September, late August, September, we'll be running Understanding University course. And so this is for anyone who just wants to get some preparation done, or who's particularly nervous about moving to a new place, making friends, living independently and studying in a new situation. We're going to cover quite a holistic range of different issues within this. But when people actually start university in their first year, we'll be helping with the transition, the change from writing at A-level to writing university essays. So a lot of the stuff that you do at A-level will work, but some of it won't quite be appropriate. So it's important that you understand which bits you keep and which bits you change and adapt, and how you go about approaching this writing. Similarly, the other aspect for our first year support is about adapting from how you studied at A-level to how you would study at university. And again, there are some similarities, but there are quite a few differences. So for example, it's a lot more independent. You're expected to manage your own time, manage how much work you put in, work out when your deadlines are, get the information you need from the virtual learning environment, or in the olden days, it used to be the handbook, and really work out what you need to do to study effectively all on your own, which can be a bit daunting. And a lot of people bumble around in the first year without really knowing what they're doing. But that is something that we can certainly help you with. So in the second year, that's when we find students are starting to want to kind of really hone skills around critical thinking. So that means being able to look at published work or facts or research that has been done and question it, challenge it. Are there other ways of explaining this? Are there different perspectives? Are there different ways of looking at it? And we like to do this. This is a very new and unique approach for us. What we would do is to train you up to a point where you can peer review a publication. So an academic paper in the realm of educational research, and kind of go through it, check the methodology, check the statements, the facts they're claiming, check the rationale, and provide feedback. Now, we do know of certain journals that invite students to be peer reviewers, and this would be a very valuable experience. It also teaches you that actually academic writing is not that scary. You know, it does take a lot of effort, but even high up academics, professors, doctors, and whatever, they start with quite a rough draft initially in their writing, and then they have to work on it and improve it to get it to be something that's published. And it's fascinating to see. Equally, the academic writing, the essay writing support we offer for more advanced students has that aim in mind. It's getting you from having an idea of a publication through to conducting some modest and, of course, ethical research, writing it up, submitting it, dealing with peer comments, and getting it published. So can you imagine coming out of your undergraduate degree, maybe even your second year, with a publication? That would be brilliant. Of course, in our third year, I know you guys are just about to start university, so I won't go on about this. That's when I guess we're seriously thinking about those dissertations, those big bits of research and writing, and the final year exams, which of course are very important in determining the final grade or the degree classification that people leave university with. And so if you didn't know already, the best you can get is a first, you know, and those can be split into different categories: a higher first, upper first, whatever. 2-1, then it goes down to 2-2, then third, and then pass, and then fail. So even the way things are marked at university is different. And a first, just so you know, is generally quite hard to get. We're talking about maybe the top 20% of students, and that is 70% and above. So any dreams of scoring 100% on your work at university, that's just not how it works. I'm not putting anything down here, but this is just a good example of how expectations of how things are done change. So lastly, and this is something I'm quite excited about, have you heard of ChatGPT? Have you heard of AI writers, or what is it? Generative AI. I don't like that. I prefer AI writers because they are literally writing and they're language models. And so I don't think we want to broaden it out to, you know, they can do everything. We're getting to a point where AI writers can be incredibly useful for creating essays, structuring writing, playing around with ideas, doing bits of research for you. But not analysing information. They're unable to put together two different ideas and evaluate it, or link them, analyse, apply theories to particular contexts. So that is something that only we can do. But using an AI writer means we have more time to focus on this knowledge creation. So potentially it might be a bit like the move to using, you know, washing machines. Women are no longer trapped in their homes, scrubbing clothes and running them through mangles. We have technology that saves us time in these areas, meaning we can go on to do so much more. And it could be that AI writers will be a step in this direction. So that's kind of what this course explores. It's how to use them and how to use them effectively, but also ethically, and how to kind of evidence that in research. So I'm very excited about that. This is brand new technology and brand new practices that are being developed with this. Anyway, enough of that. If you're interested in any of these courses, then send us an email at alex@weirdlearning.co.uk and we will add you to our mailing list. So that way you will receive updates about the courses and things that we're offering. Equally, you can also follow us on social media. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Are there any others? YouTube as well. So, stay in touch and get in touch if you have any questions or any ideas. Thank you for your time and good luck with Results Day. Bye.